So this side of the layout is looking rather populated at the moment, and that's because all the stock is over here while I do some work on the fiddle yard behind me. But that's for another video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about a technique which I learned from Dan Evason of Tunnel Lane Model Railways when he put a guide in Hornby Magazine, a step-by-step actually to paint my Hadley Wood tunnel entrances, but I thought I would apply it to these retaining walls, and hopefully we'll get rather a nice effect. Slightly more professional than what I could have done without his help. So, time to take them up and get them primed. So you actually join me mid-process now because I've used the usual grey primer and I've coated all the walls in that, all the MDF. What I'm going to do actually is, and it's the main difference with Dan's technique, it's very simple, but this is why I think it's so effective. Using a white primer and a black primer, I'm actually going to use the white primer on areas which are, say, which would be open to the sunshine in the real world, and then the black primer towards the bottom in this case to indicate the sort of more dingy areas, damp areas in the shadow, that kind of thing. It's very simple, and it makes quite a nice effect actually on the walling, as you can see. But it's so simple, but it's very effective at affecting the paint levels to come. So, as you've seen me do one, all that's left to do is the rest of them. So here we are. The shading has dried, as you can see, onto the bricks, and the primer level is now ready for the next coating. So what we're going to do is I have some Dale and Rowney paint, and I'm going to take some burnt sienna acrylic paint, make a blob, and then added separately some yellow ochre of the same brand. Of course, you can use any colours you see fit, but this is just what I had. I've got far too much of the yellow stuff. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a dab of the yellow and mix it in with the brown until I get a rough brick colour that I'm happy with. And there we go. So the very simple process is now get a tiny bit on your brush, obviously wipe off the excess like I just did, and start stippling. And there we go. As you can see, that's looking very brick-like, very wally. There's just 4 more to do, so leave me to it and I'll go and get these done. Right, so that didn't take long. And as you can see, these pieces are all painted up and they look roughly the same colour. I'm quite impressed with how that looks. So, before we get too carried away, we've got a quick step to do, and that is to use the matte varnish. This is acrylic matte varnish, which I'll just slightly spray over it all, and we'll get to that before we get onto the mortar phase. So we are back, and you can probably see now it's getting a bit silly because I've got a right production line going. As you can see, the latest batch of walls are just drying now, ready with their varnish, ready for the next phase, which is what I'm doing here, which is applying the mortar. So I have one here ready to go. Now what I've done is I've got a little piece of offcut wood, and for this one I'm using some buff titanium paint, which I've already applied. And what I'll be doing is adding the mortar. So you'll like this, it's very simple and slightly messy. So the trick is to get a fair bit of paint, and you want to just paint over all your nice brickwork at this point. Now, you don't want it to be too thin because it needs to stay wet, because you need to wipe it off in a moment. So small sections at a time, just in case it dries on you, because you won't want that, because then you get cream coloured brickwork. Right, so you get some kitchen towel, wipe it off, wipe off all the excess. Now, this is the magic of adding the matte varnish, because what that does is that seals it and allows this paint to now wipe off much easier than if you didn't use the matte varnish. So, as you can see, I've been using lots of kitchen towels, just about finding a clean bit every wipe. Never thought I'd say that on a video. And just wiping off the excess. And as you can see, you start to slowly get the mortar effect. Now, of course, because this is an old wall, or the simulation of an old wall, there is another step to go yet, but it doesn't matter if you don't get in the all the brickwork. So if I just pick up one I've done earlier, so this is the mortared phase. These are roughly dry now. You can see, particularly in the middle bits, I've left them not complete, just to sort of give that sign of age. So when we apply the weathering in the next phase, this really just again adds to that level, and you can really start to see now the shading coming through. So you've got the lighter top part, the brick, and then of course the darker bottom, and that'll only be further enhanced when we get to the weathering. So I'm going to finish this piece off, and we'll get on with the next stage. So while the mortar is now drying on those walls, it's now time to turn my attention to the brick tops and the brick arches, which are all currently in the grey primer. Now, using some of the rail centre greys from the various packs I've been using on the layout, I've got medium ash grey, I've got wagon grey, and light grey. Who knew? So many greys. I will be using these along with some of that timber buff, just to make a sort of grey brick colour, which I'll mix up, and then hopefully it'll come out something like these arches here. Now, of course, you can see here this one has also been weathered with a bit of powder. Now that'll be the next step after we've done this. So first of all, it's time to paint these up, then we'll stick them in to the various points, which won't take too long at all, and then we can weather the whole lot and put them back on the layout, and hopefully they'll look half decent. So, time to get on. So here we are. The walls are now dry, and I've also stuck in the arches and the brick top. Now, one of the final, for my efforts anyway, steps is to add some weathering powder. So this is the rail centre pigment, and this is the soot black. I've also got the ballast dust, which is a sort of clay creamy white, which I'll use sparingly to simulate some sort of lime deposits. However, the black one is the important one, and if I reach over here, you can see this is my one I've done earlier, and you can just see what it does is it re-emphasises the areas down the bottom, and then the shadowed areas under the arches themselves, just to highlight the sort of shadows and then the wear and dirt, etc., etc., and just tones the whole thing down. So I'm going to get on and weather those now and put them back on the layout. So as I do this, I've got a very soft brush, which is perfect for putting a bit of weathering powder on. Soft, dry, clean brush. And the main areas I'm going to be focusing on are the bottom of the brickwork, and then underneath the arches themselves, and then underneath all the ledges and the lines, just because they would traditionally have sort of a damper, grottier area, and that's the bit that would naturally shadow ever so slightly. So weathering powders is slightly new to me, but I have been egged on by Dan Evason, and it's very simple. Get a clump on your brush and brush it in. Now, I'd always start in the areas you want to be the darkest, because that's where the concentration goes. But as you can see, eventually you'll have a bit everywhere, but you want the darker bits just to stand up a bit. I'm doing this backwards for you. Don't have too much excess on there. Tuck it underneath the arch, down the sides. And then I'm going to take any excess and just go over the arches themselves, the up brickwork, just because I want to tone that down. I decided last minute as well to paint these a different colour. Now, probably traditionally they probably wouldn't be a different colour, but I just wanted something, a slight highlight. I've added the detail in, and I thought, why not? So, and then underneath here, because that would be a bit darker because it would catch the damp, and then spread it underneath, pull it down. Do the same again on these two. Again, because these wouldn't be clean walls by any means, but as you can see, all the colour just starts to tie together. And lastly, but not least, I'm just going to do the top. Take the sheen off it. And once you're happy, let's just have a quick look at that. Obviously that's really good, that is, in my opinion. Just makes it look a bit more realistic. And once you're happy with that, you could varnish that with some matte varnish. I'm going to leave it for now in case I need to tweak it. However, as you can see when we join them together, they start to look fairly similar. So the next step now is to weather the other 4 remaining pieces, and then move on to the rest of the wall, and we'll see how it looks on the layout once I've done all these. And there we go. As you can see, those pieces are now on the layout. The rest of them are following shortly. They're just drying off camera, and then I'll finish up the wall and show you all what that looks like in the next layout update. It's been really nice to have a little project to get on with scenery-wise, while the fiddly yard behind me has been having the rest of its lanes added and the wiring done, etc. behind the scenes. Obviously that stops the layout and keeps the trains on this side. But it's been nice to have a scenic project, and of course all that is coming, and I'm feeling very motivated because the new Heritage Line platforms are, as we speak, being made, and I should have them as I'm filming in a week or so. So that's very exciting. So it's all coming together in this scene now. I'm still yet to ballast, but I'm waiting for that catenary. Anyway, that's for another video. Do let me know if this guide was any good. Do let me know down below in the comments what you think, and also if you're getting on with your own modelling challenge. Of course, as a reminder, if you'd like any of the walling, you can grab some of your own by the link down below in the description. I'll also put a link to the guide that Dan Evason did for Hornby Magazine down below on their digital website, Key Model World. So all the links will be down there, and yeah, hopefully this is the first of many videos. Now I've got the channel back, and the next one will be a proper layout update, so hopefully a bit more interesting. Otherwise, if I don't see you before, do have a very happy Christmas, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Bye for now.